That Chikondi would be your first target. They think they are too smart, but they don't know me properly. Please take care of them. That would be your target. Yeah. Call me and give me feedback. And I'm repeating again, nobody should see you. And do it fast. Okay, bye, take care. Bye.
Anachita cholasa, oh cholasa ngatini galu, bale wanga cholozela. Anachita cholasa ngatini galu, bale wanga cholozela. Anachita cholasa ngatini galu. Hi, this is Jack Burning. You are watching Bmtv. Oh chopala, bale wanga cholozela. Anachita chopala ngatika, bale wanga cholozela. Anachita cholasa ngatika.
Good evening, Zambia and beyond. Welcome to BMTV News at 18 hours. Your trusted source for credible, timely, and impactful stories shaping our nation and the world. We're coming to you live, bringing you the headlines as they happen. You can catch us on Topstar, channel 114. Join us on Facebook via BMTV channel 114. Watch us on YouTube at BMTV Zambia and stream with us anytime on www.bmtvzambia.com. Let's take a look at the headlines this evening. HH eyes 5 million votes as UPND gains momentum in Northern Province. Health Minister commends Levi Mwanawasa Teaching Hospital for operational improvements. Zambia's debt position improves as borrowing eases. And in international news, Mali Defense Minister killed in major weekend assault. For sports, FARS calls for nationwide commemoration of Gabon Air Disaster Day. To present the news in detail, my name is Tamani Nkata. President Hakainde Hichilema has called on members of the United Party for National Development to step up mobilization efforts as the ruling party sets its sights on securing more than 5 million votes in the August 13, 2026 general election. Speaking in Kasama at the Northern Provincial Secretariat, named in honor of First Lady Mutinta Hichilema, the head of state addressed a group of former opposition members who had recently joined the UPND. The latest wave of defectors includes members of parliament, councillors, and key figures from the Patriotic Front, a development seen as strengthening the ruling party's presence in the northern province. President Hichilema urged both new and existing members to actively recruit more supporters, stressing that each vote will be crucial in reaching the party's ambitious target. He encouraged grassroots engagement, calling on party members to campaign within their communities by reaching out to families, friends, and colleagues, while also leveraging social media to expand their influence. Minister of Health, Honorable Dr. Alex Katakwe, has praised Levi Mwanawasa Teaching Hospital for demonstrating strong internal management and implementing initiatives that have helped sustain smooth service delivery despite minor operational challenges. The minister made the remarks during an impromptu visit to the hospital, where he toured selected departments and interacted with management and staff to assess service delivery systems. Dr. Katakwe expressed satisfaction with the hospital's proactive approach to addressing internal challenges without disrupting patient care, noting that such commitment reflects professionalism and dedication within the health sector. More details from this report.
It is to look at the infrastructure, it is to look at the personnel, it is to look at the levels of medicine and many other factors. So here where we have come, I had particular interest in the incinerator to find out what is the status of the incinerator, because this is an important facility also for a hospital like this one. Of course, we have found quite a number of impressive things here at Levi Mwanawasa. I can actually call it as a center of excellency when it comes to the work attitude, the environment, the operations, entirely what it is to provide quality healthcare services. Levi Mwanawasa Hospital stands out. And I want to find out from the medical superintendent here, Dr. Mutemba, how this facility is providing services to the community.
My name is Mutemba Charles. I'm the medical superintendent of Levi Mwanawasa Teaching Hospital. For those who are not familiar with Levi Mwanawasa Teaching Hospital, it was opened in 2017, initially as a general hospital. Now it's a teaching hospital with a capacity of almost 1,200 bed capacity. It catches different departments, Department of Medicine, Surgery,
Zambia's debt outlook is showing signs of recovery as government reins in borrowing and advances efforts to restructure its obligations. In the 5 years between 2016 and 2021, the country's debt surged dramatically from 6.9 billion to over 27 billion United States dollars, an increase of nearly $20 billion. In contrast, the period from 2021 to 2025 has seen much slower rise, with debt growing by only about $2 billion from the 27.6 billion to 29.6 billion. After defaulting in November 2020, Zambia has since made notable progress in addressing its debt situation. Authorities confirm that agreements now cover 49% of external debt, with 60% already restructured. This has allowed for more manageable repayment terms, easing strain on public finances. The country's debt to GDP ratio has also improved, dropping from 120% to 91% by 2025, supported by stronger economic performance. Growth is expected to reach 6.4% in 2026. These improvements are linked to fiscal reforms and debt management strategies implemented under President Hakainde Hichilema, focused on restoring financial stability and controlling new borrowing. Overall, Zambia's economic position today reflects a clear turnaround from the crisis experienced in 2020, pointing towards a more stable fiscal future. The Patriotic for Economic Progress, PEP, has no leadership. Party insiders suggest that the unveiling has not only introduced the candidate, but also highlights PEP's policy direction and campaign priorities. Our reporter, Sontua Morris Sinkala, has details in the following report.
The The Pathways for Economic Progress, PEP, has officially unveiled Chandaka Totobwe as its presidential candidate for the upcoming 2026 general elections.
As Sean Rainbow and my party officials who have been running with this Pathways for Economic Progress for the past 8 years, I know that we stood a second chance of winning, but the introduction of a new presidential candidate from outside the party now guarantees that we shall win this year's election.
The announcement was made during a party event attended by senior officials and supporters, where PEP leadership expressed confidence in Katotobwe's ability to steer the country towards economic transformation and inclusive development.
Our official campaign name is Chandaka.
Speaking during the unveiling, party representatives described Katotobwe as a visionary leader with a strong commitment to addressing Zambia's economic challenges, creating jobs and improving livelihoods for citizens across the country. Katotobwe, in his acceptance speech, pledged to prioritize economic recovery, youth empowerment and good governance if elected into office. He also called for unity among party members as the country aids towards the polls.
Very rare in our Zambian politics, his willingness to place the country above personal ambition.
The unveiling marks a significant step for PEP as it positions itself to compete against other major political parties in what is expected to be a highly contested election. Reporting for Bmtv News, this is Sontwa.
Iteji Member of Parliament, Twambo Mutinta, has been crowned as a prince by Chief Chikaza Munyama of the Ila people in a colorful ceremony held in Luanda. The honor recognizes his leadership, humility, and contribution to development in the area. Southern Province Minister Credo Nanjua also presented 2 heifers in appreciation of his service. Meanwhile, Mr. Jan Sakawai was crowned with honorary headmanship in the chiefdom. More details from this clip.
T-shirts and also we have His Royal Highness Chief Yamondu. He would like to say 1 or 2 words.
We take our first commercial break, and when we return, international news. Do stay with us.
Execute those Nyali brothers. I don't want to see them. Especially that Chikondi would be your first target. They think they are too smart, but they don't know me properly. Please take care of them. That would be your target. Yeah. Call me and give me feedback. And I'm repeating again, nobody should see you. And do it fast. Okay, bye, take care. Bye.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. And now, international news. Mali Defense Minister Sadio Kamara was killed in an attack on his residence. The government said Sunday a high-profile fatality during coordinated assaults staged the previous day by insurgents, including the West Africa Al-Qaeda affiliate. A car laden with explosives driven by a suicide attacker drove into Camara's residence in town of Kati, the spokesperson Isa Usman Coulibaly said in a statement read out on state television. For further details, we monitored Reuters News.
Mali Defense Minister Sadio Camara was killed in an attack on his residence, the government said on Sunday, during coordinated assaults staged by insurgents. Government spokesperson Isa Usman Coulibaly said a car laden with explosives driven by a suicide attacker drove into Camara's residence on Saturday in the town of Kati.
During the intense fighting, he was wounded and then transported to the hospital, where he unfortunately succumbed to his injuries.
Où il a malheureusement succombé. En outre,
furthermore, the collapse of his residence caused additional casualties and the destruction of a nearby mosque, resulting in the deaths of some worshippers who were inside.
Ayant entraîné la mort de certains fidèles qui étaient à l'intérieur.
Attacks were reported in multiple locations across Mali on Saturday. An Al-Qaeda affiliate and Tuareg rebels later claimed responsibility in what analysts and diplomats described as one of the largest coordinated attacks in the country in recent years. Mali's army said in a statement it had killed, quote, several hundred assailants and repelled the assault. However, the fate of the strategic city of Kidal, a former stronghold for the Azawad Liberation Front or FLA, was unclear on Sunday. The FLA said on X that a deal had been struck to let Russian mercenaries leave a besieged camp outside a city where Malian armed forces were still entrenched. But Mali's Army Chief of Staff said that the military had repositioned forces in Kidal and operations in the area were ongoing. Russian state broadcaster VST reported on Sunday that Russia's Africa Corps was repelling a large-scale militant attack on Mali's government. According to VST, Russian personnel were responding along with the units of Mali's Presidential Guard and armed forces, preventing the presidential palace from being seized. VST said some members of Russia's Africa Corps were wounded, without providing further details. Saturday's attack signaled a potential escalation in an insurgency that began in 2012. The current government took power after coups in 2020 and 2021, with a pledge to restore security but has so far struggled.
The court-martial of 36 Nigerian officers charged with planning to overthrow the government will resume next month, local officials said today. The court-martial opened on Friday when the defendants appeared before newly sworn-in judges at a military installation in the country's capital, Abuja. The next sitting on May 8th will also be held behind closed doors with no media access, a military spokesperson has said. For more details, we have Africa News.
A court proceeding for the coup plotters. The court-martial over last year's foil coup plot in Nigeria will resume on May 8th. A spokesman for the country's defense headquarters told journalists on Monday 36 officers are on trial for allegedly planning to overthrow the government. If successful, this will have brought an end to more than a quarter-century of democracy in Africa's most populous country. The court-martial was inaugurated Friday with 36 officers brought before the newly sworn-in justice for the opening of the proceedings held at a military installation in the capital, Abuja. The next sitting will also be behind closed doors with no media access. Separately, 6 civilians are also on trial this week at Abuja's Federal High Court for their alleged role in the plot. They have all pleaded not guilty. Nigeria has seen several military takeovers in its history and spent much of the 20th century under junta rule after its independence from Britain in 1960.
Well, we break off for a second commercial and return with sports news.
Execute those Niali brothers. I don't want to see them. Especially that Chikondi would be your first target. They think they are too smart, but they don't know me properly. Please take care of them. That would be your target. Yeah. Call me and give me feedback. And I'm repeating again, nobody should see you. And do it fast. Okay, bye, take care. Bye.
Welcome back, and now for sports news. The Football Association of Zambia has announced that all its provincial offices will hold commemorative activities on April 28, 2026, in an honor of the victims of the Gabon air disaster. In a press statement issued from Football House in Lusaka, FAS says the directive was given by its president, Keith Mwemba, during the Eastern Province Annual General Meeting that was held last week. The move aims to ensure a unified and dignified remembrance across the country. FAS describes the tragedy as one of the darkest moments in Zambia's football history, noting that the players and officials who perished were serving the nation and should never be forgotten. Provincial officers have been encouraged to organize simple but meaningful activities to allow widespread participation. These include moments of silence in schools, markets, and workplaces, candlelighting ceremonies, prayer services, and community cleanup initiatives in honor of the fallen heroes. The association also urged media houses to air tributes and remembrance messages throughout the day to keep the memory of the victims alive. FAS further called on families of the victims to remain united in preserving the legacy of their loved ones, describing their sacrifice as a lasting source of national pride. Meanwhile, the association has appealed to the corporate sector to partner in restoring the heroes' Eka at the Independence Stadium into a site that reflects the dignity of the fallen heroes. It has also urged the National Museums Board to prioritize its preservation and push for its recognition as a national heritage site. FAS says honoring the victims must go beyond words, calling for consistent and purposeful remembrance of the heroes. In more sports, Sebastian Sawe of Kenya has become the first person to break the fabled 2-hour barrier in an official marathon. In a huge, once inconceivable moment in sports history, Sawe smashed the men's world record by 65 seconds in winning the London Marathon in 1 hour, 59 minutes and 30 seconds on Sunday. Remarkably, the second-place finisher, Yomif Kaleja of Ethiopia, also dipped under 2 hours by crossing the line in 1 minute 59:41 seconds in his first ever marathon, while Jacob Kapilmo of Uganda broke the previous world record time set by Kenya's Kelvin Kiptum in Chicago in 2023 by 7 seconds, finishing 2 minutes 28 seconds. As we end the news, let's take a recap of the headlines. HH eyes 5 million votes as UPND gains momentum in Northern Province. Health Minister commends Levi Mwanawasa Teaching Hospital for operational improvements. Zambia's debt position improves as borrowing eases. In international news, Mali Defense Minister killed in major weekend assault. And sports, FAS calls for nationwide commemoration of Gabon Air Disaster Day. A big thank you to our dedicated production crew, Jackson Tembo on transmission. Working tirelessly behind the scenes, our reporters on the ground, bringing you these stories as they unfold. And of course, our social media manager, keeping you connected and engaged on all our platforms. Most importantly, thank you to you, our valued viewers.